Welcome back, friends, to The Pulse. I am David Harris Jr. Well, Secret Service Director Kim Cheatle has finally resigned after stonewalling the American people in a congressional hearing yesterday. House Speaker Mike Johnson reacted to her resignation and failure to protect President Trump in a press conference today.
Our reaction, the immediate reaction to her resignation, is that it is overdue. She should have done this at least a week ago. I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to see that she has heeded the call of both Republicans and Democrats. Now we have to pick up the pieces. We have to rebuild the American people's faith and trust in the Secret Service as an agency.
100%. We don't trust the Secret Service, especially under the leadership of Kim Cheatle, although I think that she's actually covering for somebody else. Well, thankfully, Congress isn't trusting the Secret Service either. The Speaker announcing today that the House will conduct a bipartisan investigation into the assassination attempt on President Trump.
We've got a lot of work to do. The task force that we'll be putting together is going to be very important. As I said, they have three responsibilities: to investigate what happened, the debacle that happened 2 Saturdays ago, to hold those accountable. It certainly was the director, Cheatle, but there may be others in the line of authority who are also culpable in what happened and the errors and mistakes there. And finally, to ensure that those mistakes do not happen again. The stakes are too high. It's a very dangerous time. We need the Secret Service to be performing at the top of their game.
We absolutely need the Secret Service to be performing at the top of their game. I was actually given inside information from somebody that's a very trusted source, that's a security expert, last Friday, that shared with me that this was actually coming. Mike Johnson going to be spearheading an investigation and pulling in very, very capable individuals that have extensive backgrounds in security to dive into exactly what happened, what went wrong, and who may be culpable. Senator Josh Hawley is already ahead of them as well. Yesterday, he posted an open letter to DHS Secretary Mayorkas claiming, quote, "Whistleblowers tell me law enforcement personnel were in fact stationed to the roof the day of the Trump rally, but abandoned it, citing the heat." They also say that law enforcement were supposed to be patrolling the building, but opted to stay inside instead. So when will the American people find out what really happened that day? And can bad actors like Kim Cheatle be prosecuted for negligence or complicity? Joining me now is Texas Congressman Michael Cloud. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Really appreciate your time tonight. I know you were in the hearing yesterday. You got to see exactly what went on. I think some of it was today as well. What were your feelings and thoughts as you former Director of the Secret Service Kim Cheatle stonewalling, not coming prepared with anything to answer to the American people? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, it was a remarkable hearing in all the bad ways. You know, we expected her to maybe come with it's a current investigation on a couple items, but the fact that she didn't even bring a timeline, for example. We all had a timeline. I thought she might help us fill in some of the details of a timeline. You know, things that are just common knowledge. One of the comments I made is that we have more information on YouTube than we can get from her. You know, it was just astounding how little she was able to answer, and even didn't show the basic curiosity on some of the biggest issues, like why wasn't the roof covered? 9 days out, you can't give us even a preliminary answer to the one question every American has. And so it was very troubling and telling, the fact that she didn't even exhibit the basic curiosity of any American, much less someone who should be managing this investigation.
Yeah, it didn't seem like she cared. I mean, to me, it almost seemed like she's covering for somebody. So it didn't matter to her how people looked or what people said. She's hiding something. She clearly knows more than she's letting on. They weren't cooperating with any of the requests, any of the subpoenas for all the information. They had ample time. She had ample time to bring all of it. What are your insights? Do you have any insights on that? Is there somebody behind this? Obviously, she was appointed by Joe Biden. He didn't fire her. I think probably pressure and the hearing obviously put her in such a negative light. How could she show her face in public, let alone back at the Secret Service? Anything going on behind the scenes that most people aren't aware of right now?
Well, you know, to your point, one of the biggest things right now, one of the biggest problems is that the more we know, the more questions we have. Instead of us calming people's concerns, it's raising more suspicion, the information we get from them. And so there's a lot of information that's coming in, and you know, it's our job to do the due diligence to try to sift through what's accurate and what's not. And when it comes to this task force, it's going to be really important to have people on that not only just have investigatory experience, but have the wherewithal to investigate the investigator, so to speak, so that as these leaders of three-letter agencies come before Congress and they try to give us the party line, that we're questioning that as well, because as we saw even in the hearing, the very few things that did come out, some of them were not accurate. And so we have to make sure that we're not taking anything for granted when it comes to this, and make sure that we're getting answers for the American people.
Yes, I know my good friend Anna Paulina Luna, Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, she had brought up the fact that she believed Kim Cheatle perjured herself yesterday. Is there anything moving forward with investigations into the transcripts of what she said yesterday for perjury?
Yeah, it's only been a day, so yes, thankfully she resigned today. We'll be looking into those kind of things. I was looking through the questioning we had for her as well. One of the things I asked her if there were different standards for different people. She said that was not the case, but yet we pulled up the website today, and sure enough, it sure looks like there's different standards for different people, different qualifications to become part of the ranks of the Secret Service. So there's a lot to dig into, even in the very little bit of what she did give us. But ultimately, right now, our main focus is making sure that President Trump is protected going forward here, and that needs to happen now, not wait 60 days for some report from a bureaucrat.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about, I don't know if you'd have information on this, I think that, which I don't think he did at the last rally, he's had one or two since the attempted assassination, it almost seems like he should have the Barack Obama treatment, where they were just so afraid that somebody was going to try to take a shot at America's first black president that he had, plexiglass all around the stage at any event that he spoke at. Has that been spoken of at all? Are you aware of if they're going to institute that type of measure?
Yeah, I don't know the specific details of what they're looking at as far as plexiglass or those kind of things. The one thing that we do need to do is step up to security. One of the things that's certainly come out in what we knew even before the events this weekend was that we have nation states who want to take out this president, which, by the way, is a great endorsement of this president. But the fact that Iran and actors like that want to take out this president should raise the security around him to a very, very high level, the highest level that we could possibly give. Not to mention he's a former president, not to mention he is a current candidate, the leading candidate, and very likely to be the next president. So here's a man that needs to be protected, and we need to make sure that happens.
Yeah, we absolutely do. And one more question. I know I had a good friend of mine, Chad Robichaud, who's a security expert. He's done a lot of security detail personnel for the State Department. He said that one of his friends he spoke directly to somebody on the roof that said that the counter sniper actually asked if they could take a shot, if they could take out the shooter prior to the shooter being able to fire his weapon, and was told to stand down. Did that come up in the hearing? Have you heard anything about that yet?
We have not, and one of the things that did come up in the hearing is the fact that we asked for the audio recordings of the communication that happened that day, and we were supposed to receive it before the hearing. That did not happen, of course. We've gotten no information that we've asked for, and that was one of the things that we grilled her on, so to speak, during that hearing, is the fact that we're not getting any sort of transparency. The information that is coming out, we're not getting it in real time, and that was one of the things that we asked for, that we would have been able to corroborate issues like that.
So are you confident that you're going to get all these, all the information, documents, audios that you've requested, subpoenaed? Are you confident you're going to be able to get that, to be able to add that to the investigation?
I wish I could say that we are. We're going to continue to give our best effort toward it, but we've seen this administration time after time after time obfuscate on these sort of things in spite of claiming to be so transparent. We just saw even recently, 2 days after Biden stepped down as a candidate, suddenly we found the transcripts that we had been looking for, hidden in a drawer somewhere, I'm sure. But so this is what we get when we're dealing with this administration and a DOJ who's lawless and will not enforce the law.
Wow. Congressman Michael Cloud, I really appreciate your time this evening, brother. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you too. Coming up, a potential cyber attack on the U.S.